Al-Ittijah News Channel. The truth fears no questions.
Hello and welcome to Economic Debate. I'm your host, Kamal Wazni. Talk of Western airstrike in response to the Syrian regime's alleged use of chemical weapon has added $7 or more than 6% to the price of benchmark Brent crude in just 2 days. That rally, which saw Brent hit a 6-month high of $117 a barrel, is adding to the energy cost of governments, businesses, and households across the world, at a time when emerging market currency have fallen sharply against the dollar. What is the outcome of a war in the Middle East in oil prices, and what is the impact on the world economy? We are joined by Dr. Hilal Khashan, Professor of Political Science at the American University of Beirut, to discuss these issues and more. Welcome, Dr. Khashan, to the Economic Debate.
My pleasure.
And also, we will be joined over the phone by Dr. Bassam Hamadar, Chairman of the Economic Department at AUST. Before we start our discussion, let's take a look at this report.
Prices soared to an 18-month high as traders worried that a potential military strike against Syria could disrupt the region's oil supplies. Oil prices have risen $5 to $6 so far this week over worries that tensions in Syria could spill over and destabilize the Middle East, which pumps a third of the world's oil. Prices climbed this week after the alleged use of chemical weapons in Syria and recently issued statements following strong words by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry on Monday were seen as laying the groundwork for foreign intervention in Syria's civil war. A U.S.-led intervention would mark an escalation in the conflict in Syria and raises the prospect that violence could spill over into other countries in the region. Oil prices have risen about 15% already this summer as turmoil has swept through several countries in the Middle East and North Africa that form key links in the global energy supply chain, including protests that restricted Libyan oil exports and a surge in violence in Iraq. Syria is situated near major sea routes and pipelines that transport millions of barrels of crude and refined products daily. Between the Suez Canal and the Swiss Mediterranean pipeline, 4.5 million barrels a day flow through Egypt alone, or about 5% of global supply, according to the Energy Information Administration. If the Syria conflict spreads to oil-producing countries in the region, Brent is expected to pass its 2013 high of $120 a barrel and push beyond $150 a barrel, which causes the world economy to lose its momentum of recovery and would also threaten to put the financial markets in Europe, the United States and the rest of the world on verge of collapse. Can the world offer a miscalculated gamble by resorting to war and destruction? Only the days ahead can answer this question.
Welcome, Dr. Khashan, to the Economic Debate. Today, the whole world is talking about will be a strike on Syria and what will be the impact on the oil market and on the financial market. We saw just the past 2 days, we saw the market was very nervous all over the world. In your estimate, will this strike happen against Syria, and what will be the impact on oil prices and on the financial market?
indicators suggest that a strike is underway. The leaders of the Western powers, mainly the U.S., Great Britain, and France, gave speeches and indicated that they intend to...
But the French said today that they're actually looking for a political solution.
Even in the event a military strike takes place, it shouldn't and it will not aim at neither at regime change in Syria nor at altering the rules of the current military game in the country. There is no doubt about it. The Western powers and Russia alike are in agreement that the end to the conflict in Syria is bound to be political.
But that's the political side.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the economic side. What's going to happen to the world economy, and can the world economy afford a barrel of oil at $150 and more?
Things will not get that bad. I think the concern is more psychological than real. Yes, oil prices have rallied in recent days. There's an oil increase price increase per barrel. That's understandable and that's predictable. And this always happens in times of political crises and the likelihood of a military strike. Now, the concern right now is the duration of the military operation should it take place, and the consequences and the strength of the strike. In the event of a strike, I am inclined to assume that it will be brief and it will not aim at altering military realities on the ground.
But doctor, here that's like an assumption, because you say it's limited, it's going to be limited, and it's going to be specific target. But who said the response will be limited? And who said the whole Persian Gulf will be in fire, and the whole oil market will not leave the Middle East, and this will cause a major bubble in the financial market? A lot of people say the threat of blowing up the oil fineries and the oil field is real, and we heard the statement coming from the Iranian, from other people in the region. They're willing to block the shipment of oil.
Things will not get that ugly, in my opinion.
How would you know that?
Well, wait a second. Okay, a few days ago, Mr. Jeffrey Feltman, Under Secretary of the United Nations Secretary of State, United Nations General Secretary, went to Tehran, and he met with Iranian leaders. And I don't think he went there just to drink coffee or enjoy Iranian cuisine. No, he went there to talk about what may happen and to probably assure the Iranians that nothing drastic will happen. The Americans cannot afford to have a major crisis that reflects on oil prices, because that would create havoc in the United States. The Americans are taking their time along with their Western allies in order to lay the ground for the possibility of a strike in the event it takes place. The Iranians and other supporters of the Syrian government, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, said that if the strike against Syria develops into a major one, then we will be bound to take action.
Well, Hezbollah hasn't spoke anything at this point. Said Hassan Nasrallah has been very quiet, and his quietness is scaring a lot of these people in the region, because they think if he's not speaking, that he's mad and something's going to happen. But the Iranian, actually a lot of generals, chief of staff of the Iranians, said they will destroy all Israel and all those supporters of the war. So basically, the tension is very high, and Obama said today he concerned about two things when it comes to war into the region: oil and the safety of Israel. So now, let's talk about oil. Is that going to be a major factors on the U.S. economy? Is that going to be a new taxes in the U.S. economy? Now the war is not popular in the United States, 60%. What's going to happen of the gallon of oil went up another 30%, 40%, 100%?
Well, actually, 91% of the Americans are opposed to any American military intervention in Syria. And Obama understands this very well. Now, he is in a dilemma. Of course, I don't want to get into that. He's in a dilemma. He drew a red line, and he doesn't really want to get involved in Syria. And if you follow the track of the Syrian events, you notice that the Americans have been skeptical about it. They are unhappy about extremist militants fighting in Syria, and they haven't been a major or a significant provider of material aid to the rebels. So they don't want to be part of a conflict that they know clearly will end up in a political settlement. Therefore, the American political system is keen about the state of the economy. They are aware that they can't upset the American consumers and taxpayers. Americans will not be happy to see a price of $6-7 per gallon of gas. I think these issues are alive and well on the mind of Mr. Obama and his administration. Therefore, no matter what they do in the next few days, I think their reaction, their moves, will be bound by the state of the American economy and the need to keep oil prices under leash.
That's very interesting discussion. We can keep up with that discussion, but we have to take a break.
Sure.
And we will come back.
Sure.
Time. Variable. Event. The only constant variable in life is change. Broader perspective. Arguments and counter-arguments on our platform.
Global Insights. The globe on our platform.
Welcome back to the economic debate. We were told that Dr. Bassam Hamadar, chairman of the economic department at AUST, with us on the phone. Dr. Hamadar, welcome to the economic debate.
Thank you.
You've been actually watching and listening to the news. We saw the world is very nervous and the market is very nervous about a war coming to the region. What's your take if a war breaks out, how this will affect the oil market and the world economy?
Well, first of all, hi. Actually, it doesn't need speculation anymore. All the figures are out. Even before a strike has taken place, actually, Brent crude increased to almost $116 yesterday. And the American also oil has increased by more than $3. You can also look at the stock market in the States and in the region and the Gulf, and you see some values are declining due to hinting to a strike, an air strike, actually by the NATO or by the Americans. To be honest with you, if you would like to talk solely about the oil market is very sensitive to political uncertainty and to escalation. Now, actually, investors are always sensitive. If they do predict an escalation or a violence might erupt in the region, they go and divert their investment in more safe havens, and that's why gold has been for the last 3 days, except yesterday, of course, is on the surge. Actually, gold is now at the highest level since May, even though